And we're back with more exciting adventures of the Incredible Hokes. I am Chris.
I am Mark.
And we're using the webcam on the... I feel like you can get a webcam pretty cheap. I might buy one because the one built in here... This is a Mac computer. And this is an expensive Mac computer. But yet this is the best quality we can get from the webcam. You think there would be a higher quality?
Yeah, you think it'd be better.
Camera in this bazillion-dollar Mac computer. All right. What happened a year ago, Mark, in pop culture? What happened a year ago? December of 2017.
It was the day that the enthusiasm began in the Star Wars franchise.
That's right. And in December of 2017, I don't remember the exact date, but we were blessed with the emergence of The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I think it came out December 17?
Don't know.
16? Something like that?
Couldn't tell you. Don't know. So we'll go with that. Sounds good. So December of 17, Star Wars The Last Jedi left a knife out with a blade open. It kind of bothers me for some reason. And we saw it. And the reactions were mixed at best. And saying reactions were mixed is probably being generous. And I had things that I liked and didn't like, and you had things you didn't like and didn't like.
Right.
So we thought it'd be fun 1 year later to review it and review it.
Yes.
So
The Last Jedi, 1 year later.
What are your thoughts on what's your verdict for Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, 1 year removed?
The first initial thought is you'd like to think that if you see a movie, especially if it's a franchise you're rooting for, that with repeated viewings you'd kind of get over any hiccups or shortcomings you might have with the work of art. But instead, when you're with each viewing, you feel like your complaints or your gripes are reinforced. That's where I feel like I am. The more I see it, the more I see those problems or those things I didn't like about it are still very much there. This is very kind of the things are highlighted, big time. The things I don't like, and that hasn't changed.
Right. It feels just as structurally uneven as I thought it was then, and it's not aging well. It was very hard to watch it. I had to make myself get through it. I paused it a lot and did other things, and we came back to it and stuff like that. It's not aging well. Should we give it some compliments first?
Before we get too far. Yeah.
So I'll compliment it first. So the fight, even though it's been famously ridiculed on YouTube of people finding all the errors in it, but the fight between Rey and Kylo and Snoke's guard,
the Praetorian Guard.
Yeah. Snoke. I never can pronounce Snoke. Is it Snoke?
Snoke. Yeah.
I always want to say Snook because there was a Snook back in the day. The guy with the little thing, the mouth, and the New Hope. I think his name was Snook.
Yeah.
So I always want to say Snook.
Also, there is a Snook, Texas.
Okay.
So there you go.
So Snook, Praetorian Guards in that fight there is really well. I know there's some uncoordinated stuff. And people, if you just Google or search YouTube for that fight, you'll see people making fun of the fight all the time.
Right.
But I think emotionally it works. It pays off. Like it may not work choreographically, but emotionally it pays off. It's a good scene. What else do I compliment? Mark Hamill sure does act really good. There are moments I like. And that's the criticism. I mean, the compliments almost run into the criticism. There are moments I like. They're just not all put together in the right spot. I love the big giant walkers at the end. They're really cool visually to look at. And that's kind of really all I got. Compliments.
Well,
that's not good, is it? That's just not good.
The first thing that comes to mind when I think of Last Jedi is Oscar Isaac Poe Dameron and how much that actor was trying his best to save that movie. It's like that character in his storyline. Yeah. It's like you wish that the movie like could be in the same movie that where the actor was. Right. You know, the tone and the urgency. You wish that would have been in the movie, but everything around Oscar Isaac is just so
he's good at it.
Ridiculous, but he is so terrific. And so
he's trying really hard.
He's trying really hard to save that movie, and he's surrounded by a lot of an idiotic subplot. And the other thing I like, of course, you said Mark Hamill's performance, you know, and here he is. He's clearly playing a version of Luke that I don't agree with, but at the same time, I give him props for being the professional that he is. And he does the best he could with that part, even though the choices that he makes and the way they go with that, it's just so not right for that character. What else do I like? I find myself at a loss. There's a couple of moments.
That's what I'm saying. There's just moments you like.
I love Rey has a couple of moments where I love the way she describes it when she's always had something inside of her. You know, she didn't know it was the Force, and he's asking her, "Why are you here? Why are you here?" And he just keeps on. That scene, for some reason, I like that. That's a highlight for me.
I like this.
I like that. Leonard Bolter things. Some parts I like. Some I didn't like at all. Yeah.
The I like this comes from when she's firing the gun. I like this.
Yep.
So now to the criticism.
But that scene, didn't you feel like, you know, she really should have been more of a somber Rey? But she got over it real quick. You know, the act that.
I like this scene?
Yeah.
That's part of the problem of the movie.
Yeah, it's a tonal problem.
But yeah. So I made a note, actually, because I didn't want to forget it. So when you watch the movie, you have the opening crawl.
Right.
And really, the first X number of minutes of the movie, basically, the problems there continue throughout the rest of the movie. Right. The opening crawl makes it sound like there has been a time gap between a Force Awakens, the Force Awakens, and The Last Jedi. And so when you're watching it, it's like, okay, the First Order has gained power and done all this crazy stuff. All right, cool. So then you're watching this go into this fight, and it immediately goes into a bunch of characters you don't care about, and it has one of the Matrix Revolutions problems. The movie Matrix Revolutions, one of the problems with that movie is that, as you famously said in our conversation before, it took the action out of the main character's hands.
Right.
So instead of Lawrence Fishburne kicking ass, instead of Neo kicking ass, you had all these side characters randomly became pivotal.
Yeah.
And you're
out of nowhere.
Why am I rooting for this unknown character actor in all these pivotal moments? Well, they do that right out of the gate, and all of a sudden you've got this character you've never seen before becomes this great emotional moment in the bomber, and you're like, who is this? Why do I care? Why are we spending so much time? Why am I supposed to be invested in this?
Yeah,
so heavily right here out of the gate. Totally throws you off. And then you go, and after the battle's over, you get on the ship, and there is Finn in the water healing suit thing, and you're like, oh crap! I thought there was a big time jump. This is kind of weird. He just now has got out of the water suit thing. And then you go to Rey and Luke, and it's literally at the moment where he's just gotten the lightsaber, where you left in The Force Awakens. Mm-hmm. So now your mind is like, well, I thought it was a big time jump, but no, I guess it picked up right off. But then it's all like, you're told your whole linear, the timeline in your head is all like, what?
Yeah.
Where are we? Now it's all confused and jumbled up and just turned to shit. And the whole movie stays that way. So, like, there's a big issue with, like, I made a note. Basically, this is the X-Men 2 of Star Wars. or I'm sorry, X-Men 3, X-Men 3 of Star Wars.
Okay.
The Last Stand. Remember the Last Stand that just without haphazardly just killed off characters and just did things and just totally screwed up the whole franchise. Yeah. That's what they did. They didn't take any care at all with so many of the characters.
Right.
And it's not a small thing to me. I mean, the way we go from supposed time gap to not a time gap, that really throws off the pacing and the outline of the movie, and then you've got all these weird sequences of leaving the ship, and so the whole structure of the movie is just jacked up from a movie point of view, not a Star Wars, but just a storytelling point of view. It's like somebody kept saying, "Oh yeah, but I forgot. Oh, but wait." When somebody does that in a story, if I'm telling you a story and I keep forgetting parts and then going back and say, "Oh, but wait, no, but he had a gun," right? I lose you.
Yeah, it's almost like Rian Johnson says, "I'm going to give you this inciting incident, but I'll fill you in later." You do that to people enough, you're kind of like, "Well, I'm disoriented," you know.
That's the word I was looking for. The whole structure of the movie is disorienting.
Yep. Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
One of the main things to be taken away from the movie is the impact of messing with an iconic character. I mean, that's to me the legacy of The Last Jedi. Mm-hmm. So I'll just be brief because we've mentioned stuff like this before. But when you have a character who, frankly, for many of Gen Xers, is the reason why we care about movies at all, is Luke Skywalker. For many of us, it's almost like first love, if you will. I mean, Star Wars was like that, but Luke Skywalker was the vehicle for that, right. The hero for that. If you don't take care and you're careless with that character, it hurts, and you're going to make people not be as enthused about it. Mm-hmm. And I think your suggestion of the way he just did things, like, hey, we don't need to be precious with Luke Skywalker. Why can't we do this? And I understand the idea of challenging kind of what's established there, but characters are that iconic, you know. You had to be very careful what you do and not have doing something that is totally out of character. You know, something they would never do. You know, the idea that Luke Skywalker gives up. Luke Skywalker never gives up. There's just something so out of character for him. So I've said that before, but that continues to be something when you watch. You just cannot believe at certain points in the movie that he doesn't have, there's some kind of trumpet doesn't go off, da, 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 and he's like, yes, okay, lightsaber in hand, let's go. And he never does that. And you're like, but that's what Luke Skywalker would do. It's okay to have him down for the first 45 minutes. It's interesting. I get it. We show him bend down and now he has to get back on his feet. That's fine. You could sell me on that, but to have him just basically give up, and then the whole phony cheat of him having a vision and showing up in the end, you just feel like it's a cheat. He's not really there, and there's something very empty about that. And that's how I kind of feel like at the end. The special effects are fine. It looks fine. The quality of when you're spending that kind of $200 million, there's no technical issue with the movie. It looks fine. It's just a hollow experience.
But the technical issue was in the story. In the story development side of it, that's where the technical issue was, because they didn't use some fundamental technical build. Like the movie, the way it's structurally built should end after Rey fights. Finn fights Phasma, and Rey and Kylo have their fight with Snoke and all this. He's throwing me off. You can't do that. You're throwing me off. Anyway, hey, stop. So anyway, that's where the movie should end. But then it goes on to this weird, another fourth act almost, right? So that's part of the structural problem of the whole movie. It's almost like a bunch of short skits put together. So we have the Candlebite segment. We have the Rey and Luke on the island segment. You have these different segmentations.
Yeah,
but they're not put together well. And then when they all end up on the Helm's Deep sequence of whatever they're basically the Helm's Deep.
Well
sequence.
Put, yes, the two towers.
When they end up in the Helm's Deep sequence, then that's like an added-on thing, and then like you said, like tonally, her tone doesn't match what we just left her with.
Right.
And there's a shot where. And Rose is just a disaster. She is a disaster. There's a scene where she comes in and she knocks over Finn to get out of the way of the battering ram laser thing, right? The mini Death Star laser thing. They're fixing to shoot at it. And she comes in and the shot is so bad because she's just all like it's almost like something from like in old 40s movies, they always had the woman would be like, give them a good talking to. And the women would, like John Wayne and
Red
Montgomery
River.
Cliff and Red River. She just gets at the end of the movie, the climax of the movie.
I'm mad. It could have been, and who wouldn't be?
And that's her look at her face. She's like, and it's shot. She's like, and she knocks him out of the way, and then she's like, and also her tone shifts. Of course, I saved you. I love you. It's all over the mat. Rose is a disaster of a character.
Yeah.
I hope she dies in the beginning of the next one and gets up. And keep in mind, we said this before, the actress and the character are two different. I'm sure she's a wonderful human being. I know she got beat up and bullied.
Sure, and it should have never happened. It should have
never happened. I'm sure she's amazing. I hope she's a award-winning, successful box office sensation. The character of Rose sucks balls and is terrible and should just be ditched. Get rid of. She's unredeemable. Can't be fixed.
That whole subplot was problematic at best.
Can't be fixed.
It's very bad.
And the last but not least for me, because I made some notes because I was kind of like, good God, this is not good. The reasoning, there is no tactical, whether in the movie or from a storytelling point of view, there's no reason for Holdo, the Laura Dern character, to not tell the plan to Poe or anybody else on the ship for that matter.
Right.
There's a big to-do over the whole feminists, social justice aspect of that Poe was feel it was like, well, he demanded to be known. He couldn't just let the woman be in charge and stuff like that. There's no tactical reason for her not to tell.
Right.
She should do it. They do it in movies all the time.
Right.
They did that movie Hunter Killer that came out here. He grabs the microphone and says, "Hey, crew on the submarine, this is our plan. We're doing this thing, so everybody get together. Let's get to work."
Correct.
There could have been saying, "Hey, we're just trying to make a run for it so we can make a break to this castle over here. All right, everybody on board. All right, bye."
Yeah. It makes no sense. If they would have said, well, "Look, here's the deal. Hey, Poe, come here. There's a traitor on board, so we're going to keep this on the down low."
Something
that would have been like, okay, fine, that makes sense.
It made no sense.
But that was not even a consideration in this movie.
It goes back to the part that structurally, it's incoherent. Some of the things that they do.
Well, my tonally, the worst thing in the movie is Poe has been shot by Leia, which that in itself is hugely problematic. The next time you see him, he's like,
I like him.
He's knocked out, and Holdo's pawing over. Oh, I like him. Like, are you kidding me? You've been nothing but a bitch to him for like what? An hour and a half? It was just like, what the hell? Now you have some kind of respect for him?
All over the map, they jump. The characters jump tonally all the time. Structural issues, tonal issues, character consistency. They're all Rian Johnson. When he made Looper, I thought, wow, this is really good. And when they signed him over Star Wars, I was like, okay, cool. I hope he never makes another fucking movie again. This movie is, God, this is fucking horrible.
Yeah, and last I heard, he's still involved with this like other spin-off Star Wars project. Someone is going to have to nip that in the bud. Because
J.J. Abrams is a goddamn genius. because Force Awakens, we were like, oh, excited, and then this shit.
Yeah.
Oh, Solo is infinitely better movie than The Last Jedi. Last Jedi is not. You could probably show it in a film school and dissect it for what's wrong with it. You could probably do a whole course study on it.
Yeah, and you touched on it briefly, but yeah, that was so also very much of an annoyance from a year ago. Us who had legitimate story problems, with problems with the story that we had, they were legitimate, and longtime Star Wars fans, and then noticing the tonal issues, characters behaving in a manner that wasn't
erratic.
That was erratic. The out of character Luke, whatever that was, and then you had this sizable group that was very loud. Oh well, if you're not woke enough or whatever. It's like, guys, this is not political. This is not why we don't like the movie. There's a fundamental problems here with the story. So that was very, very disappointing. And I think a year later, you try to watch it fresh, and you know about these things that are there, but just try to give the movie a fresh look. I certainly did a week ago, and you did recently, and it's just those things are still there.
But they're worse now.
They're more pronounced.
Because I saw it twice at the theater. And then when it came out on home video, I watched it again. So I saw it 3 times last year. First time I saw it, I was like, it's disappointing. Second time, I was like, okay, it grew on me. Third time, I was like, okay. Now I've not even thought about it since whenever it came on video. I watch it now, I'm kind of like, that's just fundamentally bad. This is bad.
Yeah. I mean, you have one more tonal weirdness was like you had, of course, Rey is crying. You know, there's tears coming to her face that she's like, please, Ben. She's calling him Ben. It's Kylo Ren. But she's telling him, Ben, please don't do this. And he's still very much with the dark side of the Force. And she's really sad at this. But the next time we see her, she is like, woohoo, like a cowgirl.
Yeah, we talked about it, the tonal shift.
I know, but it was just kind of, it jumped out me how ridiculous that scene was. Because the last time we saw her was such a totally different place.
Yeah.
It's like, well, she got over it in a hurry. I mean, it was just bizarre.
All of it's bizarre. Well, remember one of the things that was made fun of in Revenge of the Sith was when Anakin turns. It's like, no, don't do it. And then he kills Mace, and he's like, I will surrender to you. And it's like, well, that was quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
From zero
and the scary
to total allegiance.
And the scary thing is, those things were in reshoots. Initially, it was shot when they're in the hallway. That the sequence, I think, is 10 minutes or maybe 15 before he turns on Mace. He had that sequence with Palpatine, and he's like, "Wait a minute, you know the dark ways of the Force." And he does the little he has his lightsaber pointed at Palpatine. In the original script version of the script, Palpatine just keeps talking and talks him into it. He lowers his lightsaber and he joins. So as bad as what you saw, it was even worse, and that was a reshoot.
All right. Well, that's The Last Jedi, 1 year removed.
Yeah.
It didn't age well. It's not like a wine or a cheese. Age wasn't kind to it. I suspected as much. Got a lot of the toys from it. There's some memorable moments. There are moments I really enjoyed. Moments I didn't enjoy.
Yeah.
I guess the last thing I can say is I hope JJ. It's like I can't wait to see the 9th one because I don't know how JJ's going to fix this.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you thought the prequels made it hard for number 7.
This one's very tricky. I think the way to get your course righted, you have to do proper justice to Luke Skywalker. Somehow fix that.
Mm-hmm.
However you choose to do that.
Right.
Don't let that be the last note, for Luke Skywalker. So do that better. Rose reduce dramatically, and
die. Like somehow those injuries were fatal.
And honestly, you can't have enough Poe Dameron. I'm seriously, you cannot have enough Poe Dameron because he's the only character that apparently is trying to do anything. Has any urgency and gets what's going on. So that was a good thing in Last Jedi. So keep that going.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, speaking of things that should be kept going and not keep going, adieu.